So it's that time of year again, and that means it is game showcase season. All right, summertime is known for game showcases, Nintendo Directs, E3, things like that. I mean, rest in peace, E3. But in today's video, we want to focus on my predictions on what do I think is going to be at the Xbox showcase on June 11th next week, and the Starfield Direct and all that. So I already did like a recap on the PlayStation showcase, which a lot of people weren't particularly excited or happy about, but check that video out if you haven't already. So I'm going to break down in this video what my predictions are as far as kind of what I want, like what I hope to see there, and then also what I actually think as far as predictions, like what I think Xbox is actually going to show at the showcase. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to 1,000 by the end of this year, and then let's get into it right after this. So starting off with what I actually want to see at this Xbox showcase is, I think it's time for Killer Instinct, man. I think it's been around a decade. I know everybody's been trying to forget about the Xbox One reveal and how that first year or so started with that console generation, but it's been about 10 years since we had Killer Instinct, and I'm not a huge fighting game fan, but Killer Instinct was a game that I did enjoy on both the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo 64. I thought the Xbox One version was pretty good. The only problem was it was like you had no characters, or they let you play, but you only had 2 characters to play with, and this kind of became that first era around, the same thing people were playing with Street Fighter V, where you have bare bones and you kind of just gotta either unlock or buy the other characters and DLC and all this kind of stuff. So I think it is time we get another Killer Instinct. I think everyone focuses on, Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat. Those are kind of the big 3 when it comes to fighting games, and all 3 of those do have games coming out either this year or next year. I think Killer Instinct is kind of like that tier right below those 3, so I think this would be a good time, and make it Xbox exclusive, put some time into it, make it a game that you could say is on Xbox and might bring some people in. So getting a new Killer Instinct would definitely be something I hope would be at the showcase. Next up, for what I want to see at the Xbox showcase is Banjo-Kazooie, man. It's been too long. It's been 15 years since a Banjo-Kazooie game in the mainline series. I know Nuts and Bolts was everybody's favorite. I definitely didn't like it that much, but it had some good concepts to it. But I think we need to get back to that platforming. Nintendo's kind of been, taken over as far as platformers and has been for a while. I think Xbox, it would be good to go back to that. Like, Microsoft owns Rare, and Rare was known to have all these great platformers back in the 90s and early 2000s, from Donkey Kong, Banjo-Kazooie, Conker, like all these good platformers that just are kind of not really around anymore. I know Rare's focusing on Everwild and Sea of Thieves and all that, but it would be great to get a Banjo-Kazooie. I'd say that would be a good shock drop. Like, if they just drop that right in the Game Pass, you have Rare Replay. The people that have that can just download it as an additional content. I think it's time for Banjo-Kazooie. I just 100%ed the original like 2 years ago, so listen, Banjo, ready for it. Another game I'm hoping to see at the showcase, and I think is pretty likely, is a Gears collection. And what I mean by that is kind of do like what they did with the Master Chief collection, where you put all the original games and redo. I mean, at this point, 1, 2, and 3 are all over a decade old. You already did the Ultimate Edition as far as Gears 1 goes, but Gears 2 and 3, I've owned every Gears of War game. Either I bought it or actually, yeah, I've bought every single one. Like, outside of Game Pass, I literally own every single Gears of War game. So I think 2 and 3, which I want to go through again, even if they don't do all the games in the collection, they just do the first 3 like a trilogy, I would really like that. Give us some updated visuals, make it all look like however Gears 5 looks now, or maybe even with Unreal Engine 5. I don't know if it's possible or if it's too close to that or whatever, but if they can redo and repackage those first couple Gears of War games, I think that would be a big win for Xbox. And then last up, for what I want to see is, I need Wolfenstein 3. Like, I don't necessarily need a full gameplay trailer or anything. I just need some CGI with a window of when they think they're going to put it out or anything. I just need something, just some confirmation that Wolfenstein 3 is in development. We get a little teaser or some taste of it, and then like maybe a release window, like a 2025 or something like that. Like, I'll be happy with that. Like, Wolfenstein was a franchise that I was kind of late to the party to. I saw it on Game Pass. I was playing the first one. I didn't finish it, but I ended up buying the second one and finishing that. I don't know why I did it that way, but I do want to go back and beat the first one. But it would be nice to see a new Wolfenstein, in development. I think it's pretty obvious they are working on it, but I want to see it at the showcase, some actual proof that it is coming, and then getting kind of a window of when that will release. And now getting into what I think will actually be there, like kind of like 90 to 99% chance of what we will see at the showcase. And some of these could have went on the original list of what I personally want to see, but I didn't want to, just overlap or anything like that. So kind of separated what I want to see as stuff that may not happen, and this is more of the likely things to see. So the first thing that is kind of obvious we're going to see is Forza. So Forza was supposed to come out in the first half of this year. It was in that whole 12-month thing. It was at the developer direct. We didn't get a release date, which a lot of people were like, well, where's that? Like, we thought Forza was maybe a little bit further along. Forza's not, I'm not a racing game fan. I've played Forza Horizon. As far as Forza Motorsport, it's not really for me, but Turn 10 they released the official cover the other day, and they've been talking about the event they're going to have that same week after the showcase. So I think it's kind of a done deal that Forza will be there at the Xbox showcase, and I think it will come out in October. If it's shaking up the way if the fall's shaking up the way I think it will be, I think it's going to fit somewhere in that October, maybe early November range. If Starfield's going to be there in September, I think Forza will be that next game in October. Next up for what we'll see is very, very likely. So a lot of people thought Fable may or may not be there. We haven't seen anything past that CGI trailer. We know Playground Games is working on it, but Xbox did tweet out actually the other day. They tweeted out a video of a glitter path like all over an Xbox controller, and I had no idea what that meant. I saw it on Twitter, and then someone tweeted and responded, I think it was Ryan McCaffrey, that like in Fable there is a like glitter path that takes you to like your next objective or whatever. So Xbox is kind of hinting at it. Do I think it will release this year? I don't know, because I don't know. I think a big thing, honestly, with when games will release is trying to line up like what else is releasing and then what is similar, right? So we know like Avowed, right, which is the next game I'm going to mention. So Avowed, we know it's in development. I think it will be at this showcase. It's been some time since we've seen that, but those two games are kind of similar. I mean, I know Fable's more of a third person and then Avowed's going to be first person, but the way I think Xbox is kind of playing the next few years is I think they're trying to bring back being like a Western RPG powerhouse. So like a lot of the, Japanese or JRPGs, action and tactical games or whatever, it's more on the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation side. So I think Xbox is trying to take that Western RPG market, especially with exclusives. So you got Starfield this year. I'm guessing Avowed is next year, and then maybe Fable next year. Like, I think one of them have to come sometime this year. So I'm thinking Fable may come like this winter, maybe in December, and then Avowed maybe, next fall or something like that. So I think we'll see both of them here, but Fable I think is a little closer, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know. It's hard to say, to be honest, but I think we will see both of them. Fable, I think, maybe a little bit further along, because Obsidian also has the Outer Worlds 2 that they're working on, so we may not see Avowed this year and probably next year. Next up for games we're probably going to see is Hellblade 2. Now, this was actually the first game that they showed a demo of for the Xbox Series X. Like, this was, essentially a, launch title, if you want to think of it that way. Like, this is what the Xbox Series can do. We've seen that trailer during the Game Awards back in, 2021. We've seen the Unreal 5 facial animation trailer recently, a few months ago. So it's like, at this point, it's been 5 years since we first learned about Hellblade 2. I think it is time that we see this. Microsoft owns Ninja Theory now, so this game needs to come out this year, and I feel like it will, and I think it will be a November launch. So that's kind of where I'm putting it. I think we'll have, a few big games late this year, then going into early next year. So I think it'll be Starfield in September, as we know already, Forza in October, Hellblade in November, and then maybe Fable in December. Maybe it goes into January, or Avowed will take that place. We'll have to see. But I think that game Hellblade 2 will show up. The next game that I feel like it literally has to, I would be very surprised if I don't see it, would be Indiana Jones. So we got a short cinematic, not even barely CGI trailer. We don't know what type of game it's going to be or anything, but Indiana Jones, we got that trailer in, I think it was 2021, and the movie, the new one, comes out at the end of June. So I would just assume they were trying to line up the game with the movie at least within the same 6 months. I mean, we're kind of seeing that with Spider-Man on the PS4 back in 2018, and then Into the Spider-Verse. Those both came out in the same year. We got Across the Spider-Verse coming out this year, and Spider-Man 2 coming out later this year. So I think they kind of want to line up these movies and TV shows with the video games. Same thing with Last of Us. We got Last of Us Part 1 remastered at the end. I think it was November, and then we got the show in January. So I think within the next 2 to 3 months, when the movie comes out, we will be seeing Indiana Jones actually get released. Will it be first person, third person? Who knows? But Machine Games knows how to make a good game, so we'll see what happens when that drops. Next up, speaking of Obsidian with Avowed, I do think The Outer Worlds 2 has a good chance of showing up. We did first hear that Outer Worlds 2 was in development back in 2021. Outer Worlds 1 came out, 2019, I believe, and then we just got an update for that game recently, so I think it kind of makes sense that we'll see it. Do I think it'll launch this year? No, I think it's too, again, back to the similar video games, I think it's too similar to Starfield in a sense. You don't want another big space RPG within 3 to 4 months of each other. So I do see if The Outer Worlds 2 will come out maybe next year, maybe 2025, but I do think we will see it along with gameplay at this showcase this year. And then last up for what we'll see, I think a Persona 3 remake is bound to show up at this showcase. So I've been trying to stay away from the leaks on the show. If I hear about rumors or other YouTubers talking about it or whatever, that's kind of what I'll listen to that. But as far as looking at people actually leaking, hey, this will definitely be there, those people that literally know what's going to happen, I want to be surprised. I want to actually enjoy the showcase and, not get anticipation from leaks and rumors, and then when it doesn't happen, get upset. So I do think Persona 3 Remake, it's been rumored that's going to come out. We've seen Xbox do the whole Game Pass deal as far as Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal, getting a lot of marketing behind those 3 games. And Atlas, I mean, they got that Game Pass bag. So I think Persona 3 Remake, even though it's not going to be only on Xbox, that's not going to happen, but I think there is a Game Pass deal involved, and I do think it'll either launch on Xbox first, or at least Xbox will have most of the marketing rights to the game, and if not, at least they got it on Game Pass, right? So Persona 3 Remake, I think we will see that at this showcase. So that pretty much does it for what do I want to see and what do I actually predict to be at this Xbox showcase. I couldn't think of any specific titles as far as shadow drops and all that kind of stuff, but I do think we may get a shadow drop. We've seen it with Hi-Fi Rush earlier in January, but I didn't want to bank on that. I think we'll also see a few more Game Pass titles and things like that we don't really know about. That kind of goes without saying, but we'll see. Maybe we'll see one of my predictions will actually get shadow drop. The other bigger games, we don't see that really not likely happening. They want to do big marketing pushes, get the stuff out to the the stores and things like that, or maybe not with Game Pass. Who knows? Maybe they don't care about printing out a bunch of CDs to have at the retailers and things like that. So maybe we'll see a Metroid Prime remaster situation. Who knows? But I'm gonna say that I know a lot of people are like, oh, the showcase gotta be great and all this, and it's like Xbox has showcased the last 2 years, and I've done videos on these, go watch those, but they've been pretty good from what we've seen. The problem isn't the showcase, it's where are the games, and then when they drop, are they good, are they quality, are they, you know, 80 to 85 to 90 plus Metacritic score games. Like, that's what we care about. It's not about, is the showcase good? Anybody could show a trailer and some gameplay and a demo that looks good, but at the end of the day, the games need to come out. We need to know when, and they need to be quality. That's it. Phil Spencer said it. That's all that matters. So those are my predictions. Hopefully we get these games. Hopefully we get more, and they come out and they're pretty good. And, you know, Xbox fans, listen, it is our time. I know we're tired of saying that every year, but I think it's our time. So thank you guys for watching. I'd really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't. Leave a comment on what you think you're going to see at the showcase or what you're excited to see. Subscribe if you have not already, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.